Hello friends on Facebook. Have you been sitting on your butt all day and are feeling a little tense and tight? Well, if you are, and you'd like to get up and move around and do something productive and something healthy for yourself, thank you for joining me live, and we're going to do some stretches together. My name is Jonathan Sugai, and I'm broadcasting live from my office, the Alignment Center for Body and Mind. I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm a bodywork and mindset science expert. I've been practicing massage therapy for over almost 20 years. And I also been involved in personal development, mindset development for the last 10 years. Now, the stretches that I'm going to share with you today will help you to release a lot of tension that's built up from all the stresses of life, and especially now considering the challenge that we're all facing with the coronavirus situation. And a lot of you out there are probably at home and, sitting more than usual. Definitely, for those of you who are haven't had experience in doing video calls, you're on the computer on video calls trying to work remotely. And, if this is your first time, that's an extra stress on top of everything else that's going on. And because we're just so trying to deal with what's going on, we forget that sometimes we need to get up and move and take some time to just breathe, move, and take care of ourselves. So as a massage therapist, which for me in Hawaii, this is day 4 of our stay at home. I've chosen to suspend my practice, so freed up a lot of time, and I wanted to still be of service and to be able to share, do something great for our body. And these stretches that I'm going to be sharing with you today are some stretches that I have been developing for the past few years. And these are stretches that I use as part of my therapy and as homework for my clients. Now, the reason why I even developed these stretches was a few years ago, I was doing massage and I was noticing that my neck was getting really tight and tense. And it was really starting to bother me. And I realized, I had been, working, and I wasn't making time for myself. So my body was giving me feedback, and this is the mind-body connection, that I wasn't taking care of myself. I was, serving others, working on others, but I I wasn't doing anything for myself. And so I thought, well, I could go get massages. I was part of a family business, Shiatsu Therapist of Hawaii. My dad is a therapist, my mom is a therapist, my sister. I could go get a massage by them. But I thought, I want to try something different. Actually, when I really got present with my symptoms, the idea of stretching came to mind. And I thought, I wonder if I could go find some stretches, try to see if I can stretch this out. And thus I began my exploration. I actually went and did some research, tried out a few stretches, found a few that I liked, and I started to play with it myself and test it out on my clients. So, lo and behold, the past few years, I've developed this system of stretches that I know gets the best results because I can actually see the results of my clients. Now, often my clients will come in real tense, and they come in with specific problems and real intense trigger points in certain parts of the body. And I used to just massage them and have them breathe and endure, and it was called torture, and wasn't pleasant for them. Not pleasant for me either. But then when I started to use the stretches, I thought, okay, let's see how great these stretches are. And so the trigger points, especially in the legs, I would find the trigger points, then do a stretch, and then recheck and test. And lo and behold, wow, what a difference. It was sometimes a night and day difference. Either the pain would drop at least 50%, or it would just, there would be no pain at all. It would feel like, whatever felt like an ice pick before, it would just feel like pressure. So I'm really inspired and enthused to be able to share some of these stretches with you. Now, let's begin. So the first stretch we're going to do is for the feet. Okay, so we're going to start at the feet. And why are the feet so important? Well, our feet are there for grounding. And, our feet have traveled, hundreds or thousands of miles. We've taken thousands of, if not millions of steps, thousands and thousands of steps. And we forget about our feet, and our feet need our love because they actually love us. They actually serve us unconditionally. until we've overused them and they start to give us feedback and they're asking for some love in the form of pain. And so for the feet, we're going to be doing what's called the plantar fasciitis stretch, and we're going to be using a tennis ball. So again, if this is your first time, see if you can find a tennis ball. If you don't have one, I don't recommend using golf balls. You could use a racket ball, like a blue one, possibly a ping pong ball. That was another suggestion by someone else, but definitely the tennis ball is the best one. So let's try it out. Now, we're gonna massage our feet. Now, before we do that, the first thing we're gonna do is actually, let's test our flexibility. Because actually one of the cool things, and I used to do this as a demo, was to show how by massaging the feet, it loosens up the fascia or the connective tissue, and it actually has an effect on the rest of the body. And the way it shows up on my body, and this doesn't work for everybody, but the way it shows up on my body, and it might show for yours, is after I massage my foot, and we'll start off with my left side, the length of my arm is going to change, okay? The length of my arm is going to change. So let me show you what it's like right here. Okay, so I'm gonna bend and reach for my toes. And actually I can knuckle because I've been doing this weekly. And the benefit of the coronavirus situation is actually I wasn't doing this stretch, this one daily. Now I am, because this is part of my system. So yeah, you can see I'm pretty even. Now we're gonna massage. We're gonna use the tennis ball. Okay? And by the way, for those of you Apple Watch users, you can count this for your exercise. You can fill your exercise rings. So you go to the exercise app. There's a preset for yoga. So let's turn on the preset for yoga. And we're going to set the time. And we're going to do this stretch for 1 minute. All right. So now we're going to lean into the ball. Go back and forth. Back and forth. And so you want to really put your weight into it. Go back and forth. And if this is your first time, there's probably going to be some trigger points. And it's going to hurt quite a bit. And that's okay. Because the trigger points are where your nervous system, your tissues, your fascia is holding on to tension. And this is where your body is actually storing stress. Because anything we perceive as stressful, it gets stored as electrical energy, it gets stored as charge, and you feel it as a trigger point when you do any kind of stretching or manual therapy. And what we're doing is we're bringing it conscious. And by bringing it conscious, we then can start to regulate it. So we can regulate it through breathing. And so breathing is going to be very important. You want to breathe deeply in and deeply out. Okay, deeply in and deeply out. All right. Okay. So I've done 1 minute, and let's see if it makes a difference in my arms. Okay, usually does. Yeah, we can see the difference already. And then when I go down, yeah, it's definitely easier on the left side. Okay, so again, it lengthened my left arm. You can see the difference in my fingers. Okay, so now I'm a little lopsided. So let's do the other side. Okay, let me reset my watch. Okay, and you're gonna, again, step on the ball, really lean into it. And the tennis ball is preferred because it squeezes. It has a nice give to it. Again, a golf ball will be too hard. Tennis ball is just right. So if you got some old tennis balls laying around, great way to recycle it. This tennis ball is courtesy of my clients that play tennis. So thank you to my clients that donated these balls. So we're recycling them. Again, you want to massage towards the ball of the foot and then towards the front of the heel. Just go back and forth. Back and forth. Okay. Almost there. And again, you're going to feel the trigger points and you want to breathe through them. Take a deep breath in and deep breath out. And, all right. Let's go ahead and stop. All right, let's check again. Okay, yeah. My hands are more even. Yep. Easier to knuckle the floor. You can almost palm it, but we'll work on the other parts shortly. So for those of you who've been tuning in regularly, I'd love to hear if you've been doing this stretch and what have you noticed. Please post it in the chat. And let me take a moment to say hi Steven, hi Tina, hi Ikaika and Brian. Thank you for joining. Yeah, have any of you been tuning in lately? Have you tried out the tennis ball stretch and let me know how it's going? Oh, hi Lisa. Have you had a chance to do it? And if you did, what have you noticed so far? Please post in the chat. Okay, so that is the foot stretch, the plantar fasciitis stretch with the tennis ball. Okay, and again, you want to do it for 1 minute per side. So now we're going to move on to the next stretch. And the next stretch we're going to do is our quads. Now, our quadricep muscles work very hard for us. They help us with walking. We needed to get out of bed. We needed to go up and down stairs. We need to be able to sit and stand. And the problem that I see most often in my practice is lower back pain. And it turns out that lower back pain has a lot to do with overloading of the quads, really tight quads. Because the most common complaint about people who have lower back pain, and the language that's commonly used is I've thrown up my back, and I had a hard time getting out of bed. I had a hard time standing up or sitting down. I have a hard time walking. It has a lot to do with the quads. And so when a client comes in, they lay down on my table and I check their quads, it shocks them, especially right over here in the vastus medialis region, vastus lateralis. A lot of tension, a lot of trigger points build up right in here. And so before I did the stretching, we both would suffer through it. I'd be pressing on the trigger points, they'd be breathing, and eventually it would calm down. Because again, we're trying to get the nervous system more regulated. But when I started to play around with the stretches, I was wondering, would this be a more efficient, effective way? And turns out, yes, it is. And so the quad stretch is definitely one of my favorites because it really cleans up this area very quickly. So how do we do it? Now, the stretch looks like this. And you probably have done this at some point in your life. But I don't prefer doing it this way. We're actually going to do it lying down on our side. Okay, why is this way better? Okay, so you want to either have a couch or a bed. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be laying on our side, like so. And then we're going to pull our leg back. And we're going to use the backing of the couch, or you can use the wall. Okay, so this thing actually drops. So I'll do a demo with the backing dropped. And we're using the wall or the backing of the couch to hold our legs. So we don't have to strain our arm. We're resting the other leg. And you can just lie there and just be really present with the tension that has loaded up in your quads. And that allows you to really focus on the breathing, because actually the breathing is one of the essential components. Because often we build up tension in our body because we're not breathing properly. We're actually practicing imbalanced breathing. And often we're not exhaling. And so if we're not exhaling properly, the tension stores in the body as electrical energy. It stores as trigger points in the body. Okay? So you're going to lay on your side, pull your leg back. Okay? Let me get the timer set again. We're going to do this again for 1 minute, like so. Now, if this is your first time, again, it's going to be very intense. It's going to be a long first minute. So focus on your breathing. So you want to take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, so for beginners, if this is your first time, focus on the breathing. Allow yourself to lean into the pain, be present with it, and breathe through it. And And that actually helps you to handle stress. Release the stress so you can handle your stress. This is taking the power back from your stress. So you have control over your stress. Stress does not have control over you. Now for people who are more advanced, you can actually reach up and add an extra stretch. So by stretching and reaching through the fascia, you're creating extra pull. So we're stretching down at the knee and also stretching by reaching upwards and outwards. Okay, deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay. All right, so that's 1 minute. All right, now we're going to do the other side, and let me demonstrate what it looks like if we're, let's say this was a bed and you're next to the wall. Oops. Okay, same thing, and again, if your flexibility is more limited because you're just starting out, because you haven't stretched for days, months, weeks, or years, or even decades, you want to make sure you give yourself enough room so that you can, again, anchor your leg against the wall, and then anchor it, and then you kind of move your pelvis forward, and then start breathing. So make sure you're leaning in enough where you feel it. Okay, it's got to hurt a little bit. Okay, if it's hurting too much, you got to back off. Give yourself a little bit more room, but you want to make sure you pull it far enough back where you can really feel it. Okay, and then you're going to breathe in and breathe out. Basically, every trigger point you can imagine it's a breath you didn't take. You got some breath debt. So now the bill is due with interest. So it's time to get caught up on your breaths. Again, this situation that we're in, it's a time we're being given the gift of time to do some self-care. So again, deep breath in, deep breath out. Breathe in deeply, breathe out deeply. And for the really intense spots, you want to make sure you're really extending your exhale, because the more intense the spot is, the more you've actually literally held on to breath. Those are breaths you didn't exhale. That's another way to think of that. So you want to make sure if you're really got an intense spot, deep breath in, but you really want to make sure you exhale, a longer exhale. Okay. All right. All right, so that's the quads. And once the quads start to feel more normal and more functional, clients report that it's much easier to walk, it's easier to stand up, it's easier to get out of bed. And so the quads, taking care of your quads is one of the best things you can do for your legs, your back. This also helps with the knees, because again, quads help the knees to extend, and if they're real tight, it also can create difficulties flexing. Okay, so that's the quads. Now let me say hello to who's tuning in. Oh, hi Alice, Geraldine. Hi Elena, thank you for joining. Hi Kelly. Hi Kristen. Thank you for joining. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next stretch. Okay, so we've done the quads, which are the most important muscles on the front of our lower body. Now we're going to do the hamstring, back of the knee, and the calves. Okay, and to do that, we need a wall. So we're going to go over there. Right. So for this one, we need the high-tech tool known as a wall, or if you don't have an empty wall, you can use a door. All right. Now I'm barefooted right now, and as you can see, I'm on some hard floor. So you want to make sure you protect your heel. And so one of the easiest things you can do is just grab a rubber slipper or have some kind of padding, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting our foot up against the door, and the slipper is protecting my heel. Okay, and make sure we can see the back foot. Okay, so put our foot up against the door. I'm going to lock the knee. Okay, I'm stretching my right leg, and the left leg is going to be, you want to make sure you have width and depth. Okay, width and depth. And the back leg, you're going to be on the ball of your foot with the knee slightly bent. Okay, you can see I have a nice wide, deep stance. This knee is as straight as possible. My foot is dorsiflexed. I'm going to be leaning towards the door. I'm going to be putting my weight forward towards the door, towards my foot, and a bit down. And you're going to feel a stretch right through the calf, back of the knee, and the hamstring. Okay, so you're going to lean forward, right? And then your upper body, we're going to put our hands above our head, shoulder width apart, push and lean in. Make sure my knee is locked. There we go. And then allow our arms and shoulders to stretch. Okay, and then while we're doing this, we'll remember to breathe. And make sure you're feeling the stretch in your calf, your back of the knee, and the hamstring. You're not supposed to be feeling any stretch in the other leg, the back leg. You're feeling the stretch in the leg that's forward, again against the wall. So in this case, my right leg. Okay, and you want to breathe in deeply, breathe out deeply. Allow yourself to get really present with the tension, any pain. Breathe into it and breathe out of it. Okay. All right. So that's a minute. Okay. And actually, let's see if that. Yep. See the difference. So again, we've now loosened up the calf and the back of the knee and the hamstring, and you can see it made a difference in the length of my arm. All right. So let's now do my left side so that I'm more even and balanced. And for this side, I'll demonstrate with shoes on. So in Hawaii, we're more barefooted, and the rest of the world tend to wear shoes. So you could wear shoes, and same thing. You're just going to do it on the other side. Dorsiflex your foot against the wall. You want to make sure you have a nice wide, deep stance. Watch out for if it's too narrow. If you're too narrow, you're unstable. It's just like having a narrow mind. Narrow mind is inflexible and unstable. And then you want a nice wide open mind. You actually have more stability. Okay. Left knee is locked. Back leg. The knee is slightly bent on the ball of your foot. Get your hands and arms above your head. Push and lean in. Okay. And reset the timer for 1 minute. Now you might be noticing that you're kind of feeling a stretch in your shoulders with this one. So if you really push and lean in, you're actually starting to create a shoulder lift. Now we do have a specific stretch for that, but while you're doing this one, you can also start to stretch out your shoulders. And actually it stretches out the arms, and we're stretching out some of the tension that builds up inside the shoulder, especially under the scapula, under the shoulder blades. So this is sort of a bonus, although the primary purpose of this stretch is to stretch the calf, the back of the knee, and the hamstring. Again, you want to breathe in deeply, breathe out deeply. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's check and see. Yep, hands are even. You can now more easily palm the floor. So again, we've stretched this out, which then actually has a loosening effect on the upper body. And that's why I like to do the lower body first, because we want to make sure that the lower body and the legs are working at a 100% best that it can. And it actually allows the upper body to relax. Because some of the tension and tightness in the upper body may be in response to something that's happening down below that you're unconscious about. And this often happens with back pain. Now, back pain, what I've discovered in the almost 20 years that I've been working with lower back pain is that the more painful spots are actually in the legs, especially in the quads or in the hamstrings or even in the calves too. It's fun. It was interesting to find trigger points in certain parts, and you can actually see the upper body torque in response to that. And so that's why taking care of your legs is key. I mean, our legs do a lot for us, and they do it often without complaining until a certain point where they've been overloaded, and again we get disease symptoms, which are letting us know, again, giving us feedback. It's the mind-body connection. So take care of your legs. Your upper body starts to relax, and you're also getting the opportunity to really breathe into your trigger points, breathe into your tension, which also helps the nervous system to regulate. Okay, so that is the hamstring, back of the knee, and calf stretch. So now we're going to go back to the bench, and we're going to go stretch our gluteus and piriformis, known in Hawaiian as our okole. Okay, and let me say hello to who's joined us. Hi, May. Have you been doing your stretches, May? Hi, Kathy. Hi, Evan. Have you been doing your stretches? Hi, Auntie Eileen. Thank you for joining me again. Have you tried any of the stretches? Would love to hear about it. Oh, hi, Danielle. Okay. All right. So now we're going to stretch our glutes. Now this one's very easy to do. There's two ways of doing it, and this is the first method. We're going to do it sitting first, and the first step is one of something we've all done. Cross our leg. Okay. So we cross our leg, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lean forward. Okay. And as we lean forward, you're going to feel it right in that glute area. Okay. So you just lean forward and just let your body fall forward. And again, you're going to feel the tension. Feel some tightness. And you want to, again, breathe into it. And breathe out of it. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And if you want to practice a mind-body connection exercise, get really present with the pain and notice what this pain might be about. This is actually where any perceived pains in the butt get stored. So notice if there's any issues that pop up in your mind, and it becomes conscious when you get really present and you breathe through it. Just allowing the subconscious, the unconscious to become conscious. And that actually helps relieve some of the tension. Then it gives you feedback on what to work on, what the priorities are. Okay. All right. Now let's try the other side. Now, if you tuned in yesterday, and maybe some of the earlier days, I was noticing that my left hip was a little more restricted than my right. And the left side of the body is the feminine side, the right side is the masculine side. So using the mind-body connection, psychosomatics is another way of calling it, I needed to get present and start to find out, okay, where was I, the feminine side, so I had to look at females, where was I holding on to any old baggage around any women that I dealt with or experienced with. And since I was feeling a little restricted, so the perception was a restriction. And so let's see how this feels now. Okay, so this definitely feels better. I can actually go down farther. There is still a restriction, but it kind of feels like it's in a different location. It's actually kind of, I think, further down now. Definitely felt it more in my hip. So what I got to uncover yesterday, I was able to do some work on it with one of my colleagues, and we used something called the DiMartini method to be able to actually look at the issue and work through it. I was still holding on to some perception of one of my ex-girlfriends holding me back in some marathon training when I was doing my last marathon in 2009. And so I was feeling a little resentful about that because we had to wake up early in the morning to go train. And one of the benefits that I actually needed to actually become conscious of was that her holding me back was actually part of me letting go of marathon running. It actually helped me to bring that part of my life to a close. It helped me develop some patience and expectations, actually reset my expectations, because I had this unrealistic expectation that she'd keep up with me, and it was her first marathon and my fifth, so. All right. So I got to look at that, and then there were some other issues which we won't get into, but got to work on it, and I noticed an immediate improvement. So actually my range improved. So, all right. But there's still something else there too, so I'm going to go explore it, and I'll definitely report back to you. Okay, so if you anything interesting comes up for you that you want to share, either you can do it in the chat, or if there is an issue that you want some additional ask some additional questions, feel free to message me. I can give you some pointers on how to find out what it is and what to do about it. Please reach out. Would love to be of service that way. Okay, so that is the glute and piriformis stretch. Again, this is great for releasing all that tension that builds up from sitting. We also can build up tension from standing a lot. So, people in the service industry also accumulate a lot of tension from just, especially, if you're working retail or you're in service, that can build up there too. And if you have any sciatic pain or piriformis syndrome pain, this is an excellent stretch. And it's one of the easier ones to do. Now, there is another way to do it. Let me show you the other way. And before I do that, I want to just acknowledge who's joined us. Oh, hi, Grant. Hi, Kiasha. Hi, Michelle. Oh, you're welcome, Alice. All right. So let's do the other method for stretching the glutes. And you can do it lying down. Okay, so again, you cross your legs, and then you pull this way. Now, what's interesting for my left side, I feel like I actually can go, if I'm pulling my legs, then I feel less of restriction. So I'm going to go explore that. And I'll definitely report back to you what I find. So you want to pull with your legs and pull with your arms. And you can really feel it right in here. And we'll just do this one for about 30 seconds since we already did the other one. Okay, let's switch sides. Let's go this way. Again, you're going to cross your leg, and then you're going to pull. Yep, and this side definitely feels less restricted. I think maybe I need to work on for those of our DiMartini colleagues, I probably got some unrealistic expectations about freedom and non-restriction. So actually I can go explore that too. Because again, if I have an imbalanced perception about something, it shows up in the posture. So again, hip imbalance. Definitely go explore that after this. All right, so that's the other way of doing the glute and piriformis stretch. We're now complete with the lower body. These are the best stretches for the most common issues that I see in my practice. And now we're going to move up to the upper body. So for the upper body, one of the first stretches that I like to do and it's actually one of my newer stretches, a lot of these stretches unfolded over time, is to stretch this area, which is the rotator cuff, and specifically the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, and the teres. So for anyone who's come in to see me, this is one of the, you got shoulder issues, this area is really sore. This is where a lot of tension builds up. For those of you who self-massage, this is probably an area, if you're using a tool, like a shiatsu hoop or lean with a ball, yeah, this is definitely feel it. Now, I just recently figured out how to stretch through that area, and the way we can do it is this way. Why am I here? Oh. Okay, for some reason music was playing. I think Siri interpreted something. All right. Anyway, ooh. There we go. Okay. I accidentally invoked SIRI. Be careful what we say. In the meantime, we'll say hi to who joined us. Hi, Hale. Hi, Jen. Hi, Erica. Just in time for the shoulder stretch. Okay, so we're going to do the shoulder stretch. And it looks like a tricep stretch. So we're going to do the left side first. You bend your elbow. Then you're going to pull with the opposite arm. So the twist is we're going to lean and pull. Okay, so you're going to feel the tension in the tricep, and then you're going to feel it through the rotator cuff, and you're going to feel it all the way down the hip as you lean. So we're going to catch all the tension that builds up right in here. Okay, and let me get my timer started. Okay, so we're going to pull and lean, and make sure you widen your stance. You're more stable. Pull and lean. I'm going to take some deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Breathe in, breathe out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And you may feel some tingling, you may feel some pain shooting down to your fingers. That's normal. And you actually want to feel it because you're bringing, again, that tension unconscious, and then you're going to breathe it out. You're going to regulate it with your breath. And then for those of you who want to practice the mind-body connection, you get really present and identify what the issue is, stress is, what the emotion's about, and you can go tackle it. Go deal with it however you choose to deal with it. Okay. And now when you're done with this one, you want to ease out of it. Come out slowly. Okay. Because your arm may feel a little gnarly, a little weird, a little tingly. Mine was there was a kind of a burning, cooling, hot and cold sensation that I was experiencing. That was kind of shooting down to my hand. So emotionally, I can go look at my perceptions of hot and cold with the feminine. More content for me to work on. Okay, so now let's do the right side. Okay, bend your elbow, and you're going to pull. My timer started. Bend, pull, and you're going to lean. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Again, you're going to feel the stretch go down the tricep, through the rotator cuff. You're going to feel it propagate through the fascia, down the side of the ribs, all the way down to the hip. Now this side, slight tingling, not as intense. Definitely the left side was more intense, so I've got more stuff to work on with my experiences with the feminine. again, I'll report back to you with what I discover. Okay. And again, you want to ease out of that. Okay, and then kind of shake it off. Okay, and you should feel sort of a lightness. Helps to move your shoulders around. And again, if it's your first time, it may be a bit tender, because again, we're bringing up a lot of stuff. Any pain, any tension that you find in the body through manual work or through stretching, it is stress you've experienced at some point in the past where you saw more negative than positive. You couldn't really deal with it, and so you stuff it unconscious, and it goes unconscious into the body, into the nervous system, and we hold on to it. And that's why in stressful times like this, sometimes it can trigger stuff, and we're not gonna feel. We'll feel anxious. We'll feel not at ease. We'll not feel comfortable in our body. So that's all that baggage coming up. So these stretches are another way to at least help you start to work through that baggage. Again, this is a great opportunity for self-care. And the more you take care of yourself by, again, sleeping, eating well, drinking water, managing your priorities, managing your emotions, living your life by your values, the more resilience you have. And your baggage tends to be not as intense and less of it if you're keeping up with it. And so, but if you haven't, then yeah, you're really gonna feel it. So anything you can do to take care of yourself, and this is one of the ways that I'm sharing with you now. Okay, so that's the shoulders. The tricep is called the tricep shoulder stretch. Now I have one more stretch today, and the next stretch is what I call the shoulder scapula lift stretch. And we're gonna require the wall again, so we're gonna go back over there. In the meantime, let me acknowledge who is joining us. And yes, hi Linda, hi Herman, thank you for rejoining. Yeah, I don't know how that music started, Hale. Maybe I think I might have accidentally touched it on my watch. Okay. All right, so the last stretch is going to be a shoulder scapula lift. Okay, and for this one, you want to stand about arm's length away from the wall. Your hands are going to be about eye and face level. Okay, and you're going to push and lean into the wall, and you want to move your body back slightly where you can lean forward and create this L. And if you do yoga, this kind of looks like we're doing a downward dog towards the wall. So you're pushing and leaning into the wall, and the hands anchored into the wall allows your arms to be as if the wall is pulling your arms upwards, because you're allowing your torso to go downwards. And what it does is it stretches the arms and it creates lift. It's actually lifting your shoulder blades up and away, and then you're allowing your torso to go down. And we're actually opening up the space in between our arm, our scapula, and the rib cage. It's actually opening up that space, and a lot of tension builds up right in there, in the subscapularis muscle and fascia. And that's stuff we can't get to as therapists, but we can stretch it. And actually there was a type of myofascial release technique that I had encountered over the years, and one of the ways they addressed the shoulders was actually to pull gently on the arm. Now it took a long time to do that, so this is actually the faster, more efficient way you can do it by yourself. So we're just creating space between the scapula and the rib cage. Okay, so we're opening that up. So you're gonna feel a lot of stuff come up inside, but as you breathe through it, it's gonna feel real great. There's actually a lovely that comes out of it. So let's do our minute. Okay, hands up on the wall, push in, lean in. Nice wide stance, knees slightly bent. Push and lean in, and let your body drop. Feel as if the wall is pulling your arms upwards, and you're surrendering to it and allowing your body to go downwards. You want to breathe into any tension or pain that becomes conscious. And you want to breathe into it and breathe through it. You might feel some tingles go down into your arms and hands. So I'm feeling a little bit of tingling from my deltoids down to about maybe my elbows. It's not quite making it down to my hands. You can move your neck around if you want. Breathe into it. Breathe out. Okay. So that's 1 minute. Now this one, I sometimes like to do 90 seconds, sometimes 2 minutes. So I'm going to actually do an extra minute. Let me show you from a slightly different angle. So you have a watch on the replay how it's done. Okay. Again, we're putting our hands up on the wall. Push and lean in. And let your body hang down. Deep breath in. Breath out. Again, the pain in your body, you can think of them as moments where you didn't breathe. You didn't exhale, so now we're getting caught up on all the exhales we didn't take. Just the way this situation is helping us take care of things we haven't been taking care of, like ourselves in particular. So again, this is a time we're being given the gift of time to take care of ourselves. To practice being present with ourselves. And know that we can still be present with others, even at a distance. Over video chat. Through our text messages. Through the sharing of stories. The sharing of our gifts. Okay. Alright, and then you ease out of that. Okay. Hi, Amy. Thank you for joining. All right, so let's go back to couch. Okay, yeah. Stephen, you said if your neck is feeling a little compressed, back off. If it's getting too acute, so if any of the stretches that you're doing, if you're feeling really acute pain, again, listen to yourself, listen to your body. You want to feel the pain, but you want to feel overwhelmed by it. So you want to walk on that border of comfort and uncomfort. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about 7. If it's starting to become an 8, 9, back off. You want to keep it about a 6 or 7. It's right on that border of comfort and uncomfort, the border between support and challenge. Maximum growth is on the border of support and challenge, on the border of pleasure and pain. You want to feel kind of like good kind pain, as we would say in Pidgin. So, all right, so that's the scapula shoulder lift stretch. That's the last stretch that we're sharing today out of my system. Just to quickly review, for those of you who might have tuned in a little bit late, so you can go back and watch the replay. The first stretch we did today was for our feet. It's the plantar fasciitis tennis ball stretch. And again, you step on the ball, you roll back and forth, and you do it for 1 minute per side. You do it for 1 minute per side. Okay, so that's 2 minutes of your time. Okay, then we did the hamstring, back of the knee, calf stretch, and we did it on the wall over here. So let me scoot back this way. And I do it in this order because I like the just getting grounded first, from the feet all the way up through the legs. You can play with the order. This is just my particular order, but go ahead and play with it. You know, every individual might have different needs, and sometimes you might have different, you may not be able to do all the stretches. So you can start to figure out what's going to be, again, the stretch that you need the most. Listen to your body. This is actually a time to really get present with ourselves and listen to our body. Okay, so the hamstring calf knee stretch. Again, foot against the wall, wide stance. Put your hands up like this. Okay, and do that for both sides. Let me show you the other one. And right now I'm barefooted on hard floor, so don't do this. Make sure you're protecting your feet by, you can use a rubber slipper or wear some footwear, okay, or do it on carpet against the wall. Okay, so you do that for 1 minute each side, so that's another 2 minutes, that's 4 minutes of your time. Okay, let's go back this way. Give me a moment to say hi. Hi, Geraldine. Hi, Karen. Yes. please watch the replay. And I have other replays on my timeline, and then I'm archiving them in the YouTube channel. And I'm doing this daily, so we'd love to see you live through the beginning if you can make it. So now we're going to go back to review the glute and piriformis stretch, which you can do it again 2 ways. Cross your leg, lean forward. Okay. Cross your leg again, lean forward, and again you do this for 2 minutes per side. Okay, so we're up to 6 minutes. Okay, and then the other way you can do it is this way. And cross your leg, pull with your legs and your arms. Okay, you can do that like that. Okay, cross your leg and pull. Okay, this relieves all the tension that builds up in the buttocks, in the okole, from sitting or standing, but usually more sitting because we're sitting on it, creating pressure down there. Okay, and then we're done with the lower body, and then we're going to go to the, oh, you know what, I realized I forgot the quads. I was missing something. Okay, the quads, okay, we're stretching the quads, and we're doing it on our side like this. So again, in your side like this, and in your side like this. Okay, again another minute. So we're up to 8 minutes now. Okay, and then now the lower body's complete, and then we're going to do the tricep shoulder stretch. Okay, and bend your arm, pull with the other side, pull and lean. Okay, 1 minute per side. Make sure you have a nice wide stance. Bend the elbow, pull and lean. Another minute. Okay, we're up to 10 minutes now. And then for the last one, we'll go back to the wall. We're going to do the scapula shoulder lift stretch. Again, you put your hands up against the wall, push and lean in. And this one you can do for at least a minute. I like to sometimes do it for 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Okay, and so we're up to about 11 minutes of your time. So those are all the stretches. Highly recommend you do them at least once a day. Preferably you can work your way up to twice a day, and ideally 3 times a day. You're going to see you'll get your results a lot faster. Yes, you'll be a little sore if this is your first time starting them, but like exercise, your body starts to get used to it. And plus, as I mentioned earlier, we're surfacing a lot of stress that we experienced at some point in the past. And again, we stored it because we didn't know how to deal with it at the time. So it stores as symptoms in the body. And, again, we're being given the gift of time. So this is the time to, start to declutter our external world. And this is one of the things you can start to use to declutter your inner world. So start to help do the inner healing. And with this big health challenge, this is a big test to see, who is really taking care of themselves. The individuals who are not taking care of themselves are the ones that are catching the virus, and they're also getting the most acute symptoms of the virus. If you're really taking care of yourself, meaning you're getting your rest, you're eating moderately, you're drinking 2 to 3 liters of water daily, you are focusing on priority, living by your values, and making sure you're living the life the way you love to live it, and managing your emotions. You're going to have more resilience, because again, all that stress runs down the immune system, and if your immune system is compromised, increases the probability of a more acute symptoms to the virus. And actually, if you have a strong immune system, you can still catch the virus, but you either will be asymptomatic or your symptoms will be mild. And that's why actually what they're noticing so far is that younger individuals are more likely to have a more mild response versus the elderly, which a lot of them had already had pre-existing diseases, at least 2 or 3. And again, they had more baggage. And if we looked at the way they were living their life, they were setting themselves up for this. So again, take care of yourself, okay? So get your rest, eat moderately, drink lots of water, focus on priority, do your stretches, and take this time to really go empower yourself. So if you've been putting off some education, or you're noticing gaps in your business, this is a time to go work on that. So for me, I'm unable to practice massage right now. I'm choosing to honor the lockdown, or the stay-at-home order. So this is actually getting my okole online, and I had done this last year. I had some healing I needed to do. There was a lot of symptoms that came up, and so this time I'm actually I took care of my work, and I'm taking the time to be able to share these stretches. In addition, I got to refine some of these stretches, and so I'm getting the opportunity to make a difference for all of you. And this is helping me to just get more used to being on camera and to present. I want to acknowledge Alice Inoue for the opportunities that she's provided to teach this at Happiness U, and also with some of the state agencies. So I want to acknowledge her for that, and I want to acknowledge Joey Shibata for giving me an opportunity last year to get to present this at the OSHA Safety Conference. And I also want to acknowledge my clients. My clients were my guinea pigs, and so thank you for putting up with me and allowing me to test this out on you and make this more refined. You really allowed me to contribute to the development and the refinement of these stretches, and now I'm getting to pass the gift on to individuals who are out there that could definitely use it during this time. So, and that's the other thing. Remember to really reflect on what you're grateful for, and so. Again, we're being given the gift of time and some time to reflect. So one of the things that will really help you get through this, and what's helping me get through this, is to reflect and remember what I'm grateful for. And so I want to express my gratitude for having the opportunity to be a healer. I really, when it came 20 years ago, when I was deciding on what to do for college, I had a choice. And my mom said, hey, if you want to go away, you're on your own. And I decided, I'm not ready to go. So I made the choice. I realized, why don't I become a massage therapist? I saw the inspiration and the gratitude my dad had for his work and his practice at Shiatsu Therapist of Hawaii. And I saw the joy he got out of the service, and I saw the results he could create for his clients. And I thought, I could do that. I saw that as something I could do instead of, working retail or, working in the service industry. And so I did it. And at the time, I wasn't as grateful because I thought, I was still holding on to the fantasy of going away. But 20 years later, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And so upon reflection, I really do appreciate the opportunity to be able to help people with their body. And as I got into personal development years later, to be able to help them with their mind and emotions and to be able to put it all together. So I want to thank you for making time to spend some time with me to work on your body and work on your mind. And I'm going to continue sharing this daily at 12:15 Hawaii, 3:15 Pacific, 6:15 Eastern. You can find the previous ones on my timeline, and you can also, I'm archiving them on YouTube. So I'll put a link in the post or in the notes. And remember to turn on notifications if you want to see whenever I go live, because this is one of the things I'm doing. I may roll out some other stuff as the situation unfolds, and I have other things I'd love to share, but I'm just getting used to and practicing mastering this one. And again, if you're getting some great results, or you have any feedback or any questions, either please post it in the chat and message me as well. All right, so thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I love you, and we're going to get through this together. And please take care of yourself. Be safe, stretch, sleep, drink water, focus on priority, find the benefits, remember to count your blessings and remember what you're grateful for, and you'll be golden. All right. Thank you very much. Aloha.